How does it feel when you introduce like your business to people and you tell them EV and then you tell them Nigeria and you put two things together in a sentence? Do they look at you like, okay, do you have electricity? What do you mean?
People thought I was losing my mind in Nigeria. And sometimes some of them would just come at me and like, EV, Lekoi. Yeah, but in 3 years, we've been able to roll out over 100 electric motorcycles in Lagos. We've built 12 charging stations. Businesses on the verge of failure, you can still resuscitate them.
Yeah.
Except you have lost complete hope.
Yeah.
In the fact that nothing can be done to save this, and you've exhausted every means to try to ensure that that business survives.
Yeah.
Then it's a failed business.
Hi guys, welcome to another episode with Maryam, Finance Chats with Maryam. And today I have an entrepreneur in the building. His name is Dayo. Why did I say his name first? I should have gone without the big introduction I had planned. Anyways, he is actually, he owns a company called Zumi, and they basically are the forerunners in Nigeria trying to introduce the EV bike and tricycles in Nigeria. Yes, I said EV and I said Nigeria in the same sentence. So how are you, Dayo?
Very well, thank you. Good to be here.
Good to be here.
Good.
How does it feel when you introduce like your business to people and you tell them EV and then you tell them Nigeria and you put two things together in a sentence? Do they look at you like, okay, do you have electricity? What do you mean?
So the good thing is, right, now it's very easy because, the world is looking to pivot from fuel to EVs. Yeah. But like 3 years ago when we actually started this adventure, people thought I was losing my mind in Nigeria. Yeah, because I had to pitch to investors to try to get people on board to support the project. And sometimes some of them would just come at me and like, EV, Lekoi. Yeah, but things have really picked up since then. Yeah. We started off as a company that was just testing the space. In 3 years, we've been able to roll out over 100 electric motorcycles in Lagos. We've built 12 charging stations. Our stations are powered by solar, they're powered by the grid, they're powered by LPG, right? In another 6 months, we're expecting another 250 plus vehicles in Nigeria. So it's good times for us.
It's good times. And who are the people that make use of your bike? Okay,
so we principally target logistic companies. And I must mention, I ran a logistic company for 10 years in my life here. So tell me about the business. And, running it on fuel bikes. So our target market are principally logistic companies that have some pain points that I experienced personally running the business. So we look to do a pilot for them, and upon a successful pilot, we then do a full transition. Yeah. We've been able to transition 3 major companies in Lagos that have a fleet of over 20 motorcycles, and we're currently in our pipelines, we have another 5 companies that we're currently working with, and essentially those are the people that make up the off-takers for the vehicles that we're expecting.
Oh. That's actually very interesting. Well, I'm very curious, right?
Yeah.
Why EV? Like, what was the mindset behind it? Like, how did you get into that space? Okay, so
like I said, traditionally, I ran a logistic company for the early part of my life. So there were pain points that we're experiencing. First of all, anybody that's ever run a last mile delivery business will tell you that operating expense is killing, and then the vehicles, reliability problems, maintenance, and all of that stuff, that feeds into it. Those things essentially cause the headache. And I was also at a point in my life where I was looking to scale, and I didn't necessarily want to scale like every other logistic company, just buying bikes and rolling them out, right? So I sort of tied the business to environmental and economic sustainability. So I just kind of look forward and like 10 years from now, what's going to keep this business relevant to us? So those were principally the drivers
motivation
for me.
Behind I think it's really nice that because I don't think like 3 or 4 years ago I'll be thinking about EV in Nigeria, just like, I beg. That's my...
So on the street, sometimes I still have my guys that call me the man that saw tomorrow. So maybe I saw tomorrow, I don't know.
The man that saw tomorrow.
No, because, you know, after like, when 2 years ago, no, it was last year when subsidy was taken off, and then prices of fuel went up. Right? It made no sense to continue to use those fuel bikes to run the business. Yeah. So, and that's why you see a lot of players in the market now trying to transition from the fuel bikes to the electric bikes. Yeah. So it's on the back of that one or two of my friends always say, maybe you saw tomorrow. I don't think I saw tomorrow. I think I think
you're just smart and to think ahead.
Well, myself and my team, we're pretty, we look forward.
And what would you say has been like one of your biggest challenges so far, you know, doing this business in Nigeria?
Okay, so I think there are a few hurdles that we had to skip over. First off was what you mentioned at first. When you think of Nigeria, I think of power problem, right? We still have a very high, unreliable power sector. And every time we're trying to speak to people to try and invest in a project, that served as like a major kickback. So what we did to mitigate that was partner with IPPs, right? So we just lay our business on their network, right? I mean, it's a bit expensive because their tariffs are higher, but what we've been able to do with them is ensure that we have almost 95% reliability in power. And then what we've also done essentially is look to renewable energy, right? That's why about 40% of our swap stations and charging stations are powered by solar. So that the power problem was a major headache, but good for us that we've been able to overcome that. Another headache was just public perception, right? Where people just think, do these people know what they're doing? Why are you bringing electric, whatever here? But again, the world is evolving very quickly, and you can see from Total Energies, most people that were very much in the fuel space are now they're looking to transition. So public perception too was a bit of a headache, but I think sensitization and education is helping people in that space. So that's just to point a few challenges that we've had.
Do you, like, what would you say is the end goal for you? Like, do you want to create more charging stations? Do you want to bring more bicycles? Like, how do you want to position yourself going forward in this, in this field? Okay,
so very quickly, what we're looking to do is establish ourselves as market leaders, right? Take market share of the infrastructure and distribution business around the electric, in the ecosystem of EVs. So what I mean is, real quick, we're looking to ramp up on our charging stations. Like I mentioned, we currently have 12 now. By the end of the year, we're looking, those numbers are going towards 30. Over the next 5 years, we're looking to have at least 500 charging stations across Nigeria. And that's going to be done through strategic partnerships with companies in the power space, company in the renewable energy space. So for us, what it is, the end goal for us is to establish ourselves as dominant market leaders in the infrastructure space.
And the 12 you have currently, where are they positioned?
Okay, so we currently have them situated across Lagos. We have one in Lekki Phase 1, we have one at Jakonde, we have one at Chevron, we have one at Aja, we have one at Ikeja, we have one at Surulere, we have one at Egbeda, we have one on Ikorodu Road. I don't know if I missed anyone. One at Egbeda. Then there's one also at Unilag. So that's principally where they're all located.
So can I take let's say I have an EV bike that is not part of your bike, can I take it there to charge?
Okay, so one of the good things about our charging stations is we are chassis agnostic, right? And our batteries, our substations are interoperable. So it doesn't only charge our own type of batteries. So if you need to charge your own type of vehicles, you can walk into any of our charging stations and have that.
Charge it?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that's nice. And so far, since you started this business and stuff, have you made any major financial loss?
Like every business, when you're just getting into it, you're still trying to learn the ropes. You have to burn some cash. I think that's normal. So I think the losses that we probably have made have been, on the outside, it looks like losses, but on the inside, it's a lot of learning curve for us, right? understanding, because it was very important for us to understand what we're getting into.
Yeah.
Right. So the term loss, I mean, on the book, yes, it looks like loss, but in reality, it's actually just learnings for us.
That's mad. And what would you say your strategy was for financial recovery after like these losses that you made? Like, how do you stay back, afloat in position?
Yeah. All right. So one of the things, I mean, I mentioned this in the beginning. There's been a traditional logistic company that still exists.
Yeah.
So that in itself is still a profitable enterprise.
Yeah.
Right. So that somewhat generates the cash that we need to have some things done. Outside that, we've also gone fundraising, successfully done 2 rounds, a family and friends round and a seed round, raising substantial cash to be able to have these projects rolled out. So I think all of that has somewhat mitigated on the loss, on losing some money, right? But what's more interesting is we're able to onboard businesses and customers on our business now that ensure that we have good cash flow and that we can continue to run the business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very happy you mentioned like fundraising. I've always been curious, like for like entrepreneurs and stuff like how does that work? Like family and friends, I kind of like have an idea of what you mean. But when it comes to like seed or investors like that don't know you personally, like you need to go and, make a proposal and sell yourself. Like how does that work? Like is it easy? Is it difficult? Like what's the step or process like?
Fundraising is the hardest thing ever. Yeah. So for family and friends round, that's more around people you know, people that trust you, right? And people that primarily are looking to support you to succeed. But when you begin to approach institutional investors, the private equity guys, the venture capital guys, it's more of they need to see that there is a huge multiplier effect on whatever investment they're giving you, right? So that process is a long, grueling, tedious process to first ensure that the business that they're looking to put money into is one that, first of all, can scale and then can bring forth the returns that they want. Now, outside that, there's also a due diligence process that you have to go through, and that takes a long time. Now, you would also have situations where people are talking to you, and then you can have a very long conversation with some of these people, and somewhere along the line, it just stops because maybe they don't want to proceed, or for some reason they're just not looking to invest. So it's a long process between finding the type of investors you want into your business and them eventually dropping cash. That's why I said it's very hard. But again, it's a good learning curve for any entrepreneur that is looking to build their business through fundraising, because you can never have enough of trying like dialoguing and discussing with these institutional investors, because there's more to learn from them than just trying to, because you can't continue to raise money
from your family and friends.
Exactly. And how much can your family and friends give you?
Not a lot, apparently. Not a lot. What's my other question? You mentioned that sometimes it's like a long grilling process. So for me, then that would be, how long do you think it takes, like estimate, like if I want to raise a fund, like how long? Okay, so I mean, that speaks to, there are several things that could determine when you eventually reach a financial conclusion. First off, it speaks to how much you're looking to raise. Right. Some ticket sizes, some check sizes are easy to come by. Some take longer time. It also speaks to what the process of getting money from the institution you're speaking to is. Some persons have very tedious due diligence process, and some are not as tedious, especially if you're coming in through referral or you have a strong network that just allows you get through some process faster. And then I think another thing that determines the timing to which you're able to get money from them is also the stage that your business is and how much they actually tie and key into the business. So situations where
they already see that this business is doing well. You already have some institutional people around. You know, people don't always want to miss the train. So situations like that help you bring cash
Faster.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And you mentioned that depending on the stage your business is, so what would you say is the best stage in your business? Like, is it during the early stage? Is it during the growth stage? Is it like, when is the best time to start thinking about like seed funding?
Okay, so I think essentially for every time it is you're looking to scale, you need to find a way to inject money into the business, right? Fundraising is just one strategy to try to bring money into the system.
Yeah.
I mean, you could use debt. You could go to a bank, get a commercial loan, right? That helps you address the problem.
Yeah.
You could also think of partnering with people that have access to cash. You know, that can also help. So I think it's, rather than saying what stage do you think you need money, is what type of money do you need?
Yeah, in each stage.
Yes, like at what level, because you would have different
levels.
Yeah, different types of people that you need to speak to for different types of money, right? So it's more of what type of money, what do you need the money for at this stage? And do you think you should meet an institutional investor, or do you think it's easier to go to like a commercial bank for a loan? And I'll give you a good example. So you know how sometimes when you're in the infrastructure space in Nigeria, you know how this FX thing has been messing up things. Sometimes, or at this stage, there are very few people that are looking to do capital intensive projects and are looking to borrow FX, because it's one thing to collect FX now. You don't know what FX to Naira would be in a few years' time. You're borrowing FX to do a Naira-based business that you're most likely going to pay back in FX. Exactly. So if you have the opportunity to take a cheap Naira loan, right, it's something that you should do instead of taking FX that, you do understand what I'm saying, where it becomes very difficult to pay back because exchange rate issues has crept into it.
Yeah, I do agree. But at the same time, isn't it tricky? Because last I checked, I think the interest rate in Nigeria is around 30-something% now.
Yeah. It's over 30% now.
It's over 30% now. So now is this a good time to be collecting?
Okay. So again, like I said, it's also the size and scale of the business you want to do. You have cheap loans through BOI, the Bank of Industry, right? Depending to the scale and magnitude of what you're looking to do, BOI doesn't give all those 30% exactly. So it's also about just looking for facilities that can help you at that point. A good relationship with your bank gives you access to negotiate some of these terms. Do you understand?
That's smart. So I'm going to ask you like another question, and this is something I personally do find very interesting. It's like you are doing a business now. Do you find it easy to kind of like separate your personal money from your business money? Or sometimes everything just get mumbled up together at some point and you don't know what to do?
Okay, so I think in the early years of my business, I had that problem. So when I started my business 10 years ago, the purpose of me running the business was just to survive, right? So I was still in school then, right? I just did all I had to do to ensure that, I had a legit source of income to get to the next day. Yeah. I just kept at it, and the one-man show has turned into a business now that has a valuation of over $20 million. But in the early days, I had the issue of where's my money, where's the business money? Yeah. Right. And it's very difficult for entrepreneurs to actually be able to do that separation early on. But I learned very fast, because the minute you have stakeholders and investors beginning to come in, you cannot model into companies' finances, right? So you clearly need to separate that. So I learned that as my business began to grow, and I just saw that it was difficult to continue to dip my hands into companies' money.
And what did you do? Like, what would you say is the best advice you give to someone who is trying to now, like, segment that?
All right, so I think my advice to entrepreneurs trying to separate their personal funds from company funds would be, first of all, you need to draw up what your use of funds is, maybe on a monthly basis or on a weekly basis, and just take that as your salary, right? The minute you do that, first of all, it's going to even help you live within a budget. Yeah. Second of all, you are not dabbling into company and you're not commingling with company's money, because if you can't do that and you grow with that attitude, it becomes a difficult problem when like you want to bring in investors and all this type of stuff. Yeah.
And right now, would you say you receive like monthly salary from your company?
Of course, I receive monthly salary.
I don't know now. Maybe you're just like, Shalewa, send me.
No. So I strongly kick against that, because you that's just a system lacking structure and process, right? It's always good for entrepreneurs to pay themselves. Just pay yourself. You might not pay yourself the arm robber salary that you're thinking in your head, but pay yourself enough to live through the next day. To live to the next paycheck. Yeah. So that's my advice on that.
And when you receive your money, do you have like a budget for what you want?
Oh, of course.
To do?
Yes. So I have a monthly budget that I try to stick to, but sometimes it's really difficult.
Do you make like imaginary budget, like perfect Dayo? This is what your budget should be. Or you make it based on your actual situation. So
I have like quite a few number of people that work with me, and then we happen to have this type of conversations from time to time, especially the young ones. And I'm saying young ones like I'm old. But I try to always advise that you can't be perfect with it, right? There's always going to be a variance, right? But make sure that whatever that variance is not putting you in a difficult situation. Like you have to go and start borrowing money from people and all of that stuff. So create a budget, try to stick to that budget, and let the budget be very realistic. Don't say that.
That's why I asked you this.
Yeah, don't say you're going to go and use, for somebody that likes to go out, you're not creating any budget to accommodate that. I mean, you're just deceiving yourself.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you this interesting question. If your budget, right, were an animal, what would it be and why?
If my budget was an animal, what would it be?
And why?
Now I'm trying to
think of animals, you know.
I mean, I would almost want to say an ant for their
hard work.
Yes, and their saving strategies, right? Because they always want to keep something aside every time. But so yeah, I think my budget would be was a fairly conservative animal.
Clearly not a cat or a dog.
Well, I was going to say a dog before because
but dogs are not conservative.
Well, you have some conservative dogs.
Rats.
No, my budget is not a rat. Okay, so maybe my budget is an ant because I try to save a lot from
this thing. Yeah, okay. And what's like the most bizarre item you have in your budget?
The most bizarre item I have in my budget.
I mean, to you, it's not. But like, if somebody hears, they'll probably think this is actually not necessary. Dayo.
I actually have funds for going out to have drinks.
So how do you put your budget going out?
Drinks. Yes, just drinks. That's it.
It's not like outing, dinner, just drinks.
No, just drinks.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. And how many percentage of your budget goes into that?
No, not so much. Less than 2%, 3%.
Yeah.
It's not so much.
That's actually not bad. At least you're realistic and kept it there for yourself.
Yeah, and it's not all the time, right, that I mean, we get to do drinks on a monthly basis. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't.
So you get to keep the money back.
Yeah, or you spend it the next month.
Okay. If we are going to use an emoji to describe your spending habits, what would it be?
The frowning one.
Why the frowning one?
Because you know that stingy association of men. she no go come out. That's what it will be. Because again, I think that, from my own practical experience, you have to try and not spend money to actually have money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But there's people who also say like, oh, nothing wow.
Yeah. So that's when you're looking at the investment side, right? You're not just spending money because you want to spend money, right? You put money into businesses, or you put money into things that can help you bring more money. Do you understand?
Yeah.
That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But I'm saying spending money on things that do not necessarily add any value.
Yeah. So what would you describe as something that does not add value?
I don't know. I don't know.
Give me an example. Something you will not spend your money on because you feel like it doesn't add any value.
Well, something I will not spend any money on. Maybe excessive partying and outing.
Let me make it interesting. Something that if somebody gives you, you would receive, but you won't necessarily buy it yourself.
Oh, I don't know, expensive gifts.
Yeah, like maybe something that if somebody gives you, like, oh well, thank you.
Yeah,
but you won't buy it.
Maybe expensive gadgets.
Okay.
Yeah, because I would probably use the same phone for like 4 or 5 years, and then somebody will be like, "Are you not tired of this phone? Drop it," and then maybe somebody's buying me another one. Yeah, so I'm just not going to spend money on expensive gadgets.
But if you're a businessman, you need new technologies, no? Innit?
Yes, but at the same time, that's why there is updates. The iOS and everything will be updating.
Okay, so in this past year, what would you say is the financial decision you're most proud of?
Diversifying investments. So I'm a traditional kind of
Investor.
Yeah, maybe a businessman. So
What does that mean? What does that mean to be traditional for you?
So traditional is I'm not somebody that is trying to make money real fast. Yeah, because I don't think that's easy to do.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but I don't think it's easy to do.
Yeah.
So I'm the put £1 aside every day for donkey years. Exactly. Yeah. So because I do that, right, I'm usually focused on like stock markets and bonds, equity, those type of things, right?
Yeah.
So, but of lately, I'm beginning to kind of peep into real estate. I'm beginning to peep into the crypto world, right? Even with my aggressive risk appetite, I'm just excited that I'm able to like look at those things. And I mean, slowly we're seeing some improvement and returns.
Yeah, but people say crypto is a fallacy. Like it's basically gambling. What do you say to that?
No, so I don't think it's gambling. And again, I always let people decide what they want. Yeah, exactly. So I personally, I'm not going to invest in something I've not taken my time to really understand. Yeah. Right. So for crypto, I think it's a currency for the future, right? And I think as the world continues to progress, there would become more acceptance to a lot of things that are possible with crypto. And that's just it. So I've bought into the idea, right? And I'm slowly beginning to invest in it.
Gradually. Yeah, that's smart. So I'm going to ask you this question. If your finances were like a movie title, what would it be called? Maybe use like all these Osofia in London kind of movie title.
Slowly but surely.
You arrived there.
Yeah, slowly but surely. Because and I think I'm picking that title because everything it is I try to do financially, I try to plan and ensure that there is a strategy to get there. So I'm the kind of guy that if I probably need to buy something, take for example, just random example, I need to maybe change my car. I'm going to put a realistic date to when I think it will be changed.
Yeah.
I need to also think about how I'm going to fund that, how long it's going to take me to be able to raise that fund. So it's a slowly but surely thing, but eventually I would always still do what I need to do.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you sort of like a final question for me. So you did mention like before you went into EV, you were into logistics. So was that like the first business you ever invested in?
Okay, no. So while I was in uni, right, I did a bit of buying and selling. So I used to sell shoes and I used to sell wristwatches. In fact, the name of that business was called TGC, the guy code, right? It was something that I did for a while, but I kind of saw that I struggled with that because I was more of the service person.
Yeah, I'm done in this thing. I feel the same way.
Yeah.
I was a procrastinator in my career.
Yeah.
Yeah, the reason I asked that question is I don't. People always say, at least I've heard this thing, that when you start a business, you need to give it like 3 to 5 years. You spend the first 2 or 3 years filling and this and this and this. So I do understand that, but at what point do you say, actually, this is a filling business?
Okay, so that's a very interesting question because you know how when businesses are on the verge of failure, you can still resuscitate them.
Yeah.
Except you have lost complete hope.
Yeah.
In the fact that nothing can be done to save this, and you've exhausted every means.
Yeah.
To try to ensure that that business survives.
Yeah.
Then it's a failed business.
Okay.
You know, because people need to also balance optimism and reality.
Yeah.
Right? You don't want to keep believing that, oh, they say we should not give up. They say we should not give up. But I mean, you've poured all your funds into it. You're running into debt because of it.
Yeah.
So it's just balancing optimism and reality. Do you understand? That's when you should actually just give up. And
at what point was that for you with your buying and selling business?
Okay, so I think I just realized that the people I was selling to, they'll say, come and collect the money back. Because I was selling someone credit. They'll say, come and collect the money back. Don't worry, by next week, the money will be ready. And then I couldn't restock. I had money all over the place.
Yeah.
And then I just realized that I was just good selling the business, but I was not good following up with the money and trying to get the money from people. And then I just realized that there was another opportunity of trying to run like the logistic business. Yeah. So I just pivoted from that. I just stopped because I felt like I'd lost money and I couldn't restock. Yeah. Yeah. So that's why.
That makes a lot of sense. Like the reason why I asked you about this is so you can also share your personal experience.
Oh yeah.
You know, at least I think practical situations.
Yeah.
So kind of like help.
So I think for me, another thing that you need to mention that people need to understand there was, I realized that I could do something else. Do you understand? So that's where I just dropped that and just focused on something else, because that helped me see my strength, that I could sell things to people. It was more of service, right? So that's why I eventually just dropped that and just switched to this.
Interesting. Apart from drinks, do you have a financial indulgence?
I'm
That's
very big.
Indulge yourself in.
Yeah, I'm very big on investing.
Yeah, okay.
I'm very big on it. So I buy treasuries a lot. I buy government bonds a lot. And because, I mean, it's just, if there's an opportunity where you're able to put money together, you just want to keep that money away from you as far as possible. That's what I always do. So you just buy bonds and then just leave them there.
Are they easy to buy?
Yeah,
bonds?
very easy.
Like you just go somewhere?
Yeah, just walk into any major commercial bank in Nigeria and you can purchase a bond.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Didn't know that. I thought like you have to know somebody in the government.
No. In fact, these days on applications, you can just buy bonds there without even working into a bank.
Do you say you invest in stock market? Do you invest in Nigerian stock market as well? Really?
Yep.
Is it lucrative?
Quite lucrative.
Yeah. You recommend?
To start? No, I'm not selling anybody's business on this show. Yeah, but
No, I I mean recommend, like, would you say, yeah, if you want to invest in the Nigerian stock market, feel free?
Yes, of course. That's what I'm saying. But you need to do your homework
Your
and
homework,
understand the stocks to buy.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's beyond stocks, it's also mutual funds too. Like there's treasury bills that you can get, there's bonds that you can buy. Do you understand?
Yeah. Okay. So that was the final question from me. And then I have a question from my previous guest to you.
Oh my God.
What's your relationship with money?
What's my relationship with money? So I see money more as a tool
Okay.
to getting and doing whatever it is I need to do, right? Like every tool,
Yeah.
you need to keep it at its best to be able to get more out of it. So you need to clean it, you need to sharpen it, right? The only reason you're doing that to that tool is because you want more out of it, so you're respecting it, right? I care about the last kobo,
Yeah.
right? I'm one of the guys that is going to the supermarket and I'm collecting the receipts to see
To
that.
check what you spent your money on.
Yes. So that's my relationship with money.
That's actually a nice way to view money.
Yeah.
So interesting. I always thought, like, because some people see money as like the end goal. So I don't know.
So money begets money, right? That's the way I think of it, right? So, and that's why I just say it's like a tool to keep getting more.
You said money begets money.
Yes, now.
Okay, so there's the final section of the show, and I play rapid fire that says this or that. So I ask you like two questions, and you pick the one you'd prefer. So I have 5 questions for you. So the first one would be: buy a private island or own a piece of the moon.
Own a piece of the moon.
Why did it take you so long?
Own a piece of the moon. I know. Own a piece of the moon, please.
Why did it take you so long to answer the question?
I have to think about the private island very well.
Okay. Vintage wine collection or a futuristic robot butler?
Vintage wine collection.
Vintage wine collection. You don't want a robot butler?
No, I just have a thing with drinks, don't worry.
Okay. The third one. Would you rather have the ability to predict stock markets or know all the winning lottery numbers for a year?
Predict stock markets. I don't need to know all the winning lottery. Just be able to predict stock markets.
Okay. Okay. The fourth one. Attend a party thrown by the richest person in the world or have a quiet dinner with a genius investor?
Attend a party with all the richest people in the world. Don't want to forget about the genius guy.
Okay, my last and final question. Become famous for your financial mishaps or unknown for your financial genius?
There's nothing like bad publicity. Always heard that. So take it again. Become famous
for your financial mishaps.
Wow.
Or you just become unknown for your financial genius.
You know what? I would rather be known for my financial mishaps because that in itself, right, is a massive opportunity. Because depending on how you want to think of fame, right, you can turn anything into anything.
Yeah.
One of the biggest heists in American stock market history. I've forgotten his name now. The guy that did the heist, he went to jail and he came back out, and he still made as much money as for whatever mistake it is I made. Reason was because he just became very popular. He's now able to make money the legit way. He's writing books. He's teaching people about, do you understand, financial literacy and all of that. So yeah, I'll be known for a huge financial mishap. But I hope that's not my life anyway.
I don't know if that's your life. I don't know. We can never tell. At least we know the one you're going to choose now. Anyways, this comes to the end of the show.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming. Usually I ask my guests to sign out on the show. Would you please do me the honors and sign out for us on the show?
Hi guys, thank you so much for taking time to listen to us today. It's been a pleasure here. Please like, share this episode and even subsequent episode of Finance Chat with Maryam.